For much of the last 40 years, the only RPG a person could play was D&D. Then, in the late 80s, players who had grown up on that system began designing their own rules and systems. And by the time the turn of the century rolled around, there were dozens of new systems, serving pretty much every style of player and game master. In the last few years, we've begun to see a new wave of indie RPGs that all have their unique rules and loyal communities. Today on Tabletop, Molly Lewis, Laura Bailey, and Ivan Van Norman are here, and we are playing a very unconventional, very indie RPG. The focus will be on the characters and their interaction, and there won't be any min-maxing because there aren't even any dice. What there will be is tension, terror, and dread. Dread is a cooperative play storytelling game that is so indie, I have one of the only printed copies left in existence. Don't worry, you can download this as a PDF and you will be able to play it after you watch this episode. Dread uses a very innovative device to build up tension and really put the scare into its players. Now, I know this stack of generic wooden blocks may look familiar to some of you, but I will assure you that while visually similar to a trademarked word we are not allowed to say on camera, it is in fact legally distinctly different from the wooden blocks you might be used to. This is, in fact, the Tower of Dread. Unlike other role-playing games that ask players to roll dice or use cards to resolve skill checks or to perform heroic actions, in Dread, the players must use their actual physical dexterity and draw wooden blocks out of this tower. If a player ever reaches for a block and the Tower of Dread collapses, their character is removed from the game, usually via death. That's it. No save, no die roll, no second chance, no takebacks. Just dead. The other main game mechanic that makes Dread amazing is its character sheet. It's more of a personality questionnaire that encourages the players to dig into their character and understand what motivates them. It also lets the GM find out what they're most afraid of. In our story today, 3 characters are going to go on a simple, relaxing vacation. What could possibly go wrong? Who will make it to the end of our horror story? And who will crack under the pressure? Let's find out in Dread.
Hi, I'm Laura Bailey. I'm a voice actress. People might know me from something like World of Warcraft. I play Jaina Proudmoore.
My name is Molly Lewis, and I play the ukulele and write songs.
My name's Ivan Van Norman. I'm a campaign manager for crowdfunding campaigns, including Tabletop.
Welcome.
Oh,
Thank you.
Welcome to Dread. So you may all notice that I'm in a different space than I normally am. It is because my friends here will be needing to pull blocks out of this tower, and I don't really need to be. When I did my introduction and my explanation, I forgot to credit the designer of this game. And I want to tell you this right now, that the original concept of Dread is from Epediah Ravachol and Nat Woodelf Barmore. And it was developed by a group that called themselves the Impossible Dream. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what is happening in your scenario.
Great.
So you are all college students. It is the year 1983. You are on spring break. You all attend the same school. You don't know each other before this particular excursion.
Right.
But you have all decided to go survival camping in the Grand Canyon.
Great.
That's scams.
Because that's what you do on spring break.
Right?
Yeah, fishing and kayaking. That's what we're up for.
Yep, it's
right
really,
now.
it's
Shotgun
super,
a can of beans.
it's
Yeah.
super great, yeah. I typically build a loose framework where I kind of know what my tent poles are. So in this dread scenario, I have things that are absolutely key to each act, and then I have things that can happen in any of the acts as long as they happen. Your trip started on Saturday. You went down the Colorado River and you sort of landed at a little ranch that's down in the bottom of the canyon. You spent Sunday getting to know each other.
I'm playing Emily, and she's a freshman in college. My roommate is a cheerleader. She's a party girl. I am very kind of uncomfortable with that environment, so I thought to separate myself as much as possible from that sort of world, and I heard about this trip and it seemed kind of cool.
I am playing Alice, and she's an English major. I kind of don't have a lot of friends. I spent a lot of time reading. You know, it's kind of why I became an English major. And so these kids invited me to go to the Grand Canyon for spring break, and I didn't really want to go home because my parents just don't get it.
So I'm playing Maddox Felspar. So he's going into fashion design because that's where the chicks are at. So I'm at the Grand Canyon going to spring break. One, because it's beautiful, and two, because the two girls I was with looked like they were down to party.
So you spent 2 days of hiking down the river, doing a little bit of primitive camping along the banks as you went down, and then eventually you get to a landing where a raft has been set up for the three of you and your guide. Your guide is this sort of like aging hippie kind of guy,
Awesome.
right? Like he was at Woodstock.
Okay.
He's like really about being part of the land and like living in harmony and those sorts of things.
I can smell this
right?
guy just by your description.
Yeah, you really can, right? Like there's definitely the faint scent of patchouli around him, right?
Obvious.
He's not Native American, but he seems to have adopted a lot of Native American mannerisms. Now, what's your guide's name?
Let's call him
Pete.
Pete.
Let's call him Pete.
The tour guide.
Pete the tour guide, but
Pete the guide.
but he is also known as White Horse in
Don't
certain
bang the
circles.
table.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Wow. This is a game that my wife would not want to be around this table for that.
And whoever wins gets a Rolex. Oh,
It may have been a name that was given to him. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, that's
Who
true.
knows?
Okay,
That
great.
seems
All
like-
right, so he wears this like silver charm around his neck that has kind of like a little stone, little milky stone in the center of it. When you ask him about it, he tells you, this is very special to me. This is a thing that tends to draw people's attention quite a bit.
Maddox, he kind of has a connection with Pete, you know? He kind of feels that himself, he's misunderstood. He's taken on something that he loves and he just wants to be a part of that. Maddox just wants to be a part of something too.
You guys get into your rafts.
Yeah.
You raft down the river. It's pretty fun. You're having a really nice time. It's like clear skies.
Did we sneak in some extra, I don't know, drinks for the trip on down, you think?
Yeah, you managed to sneak a beer into your backpack.
Awesome.
So Maddox just pulls out a beer. I don't know, I kind of think that's cool. I kind of want to try it.
So at the end of that day, you pull the raft up onto a sandbar that's down there, and then you hike up into like a box canyon that's kind of off on the side. And you make your camp there. You know, the sun goes down. You have never seen so many stars in your lives. It's gorgeous. It's a great night. You go to sleep. In the middle of the night, you are awakened by the sounds of a struggle. And it sounds like two dogs fighting. Then you hear blood-curdling screams, what is unmistakably the tearing of a tent, your guide's voice, and then it is cut off. There is another terrible tearing of fabric, and the sounds of a big animal.
Oh,
right?
All right.
And you guys hop out of your tents. You come up on your guide, okay? He's messed up, you guys. He's unconscious. He's breathing. His breathing's really rapid and really shallow. He has these giant claw marks across his chest and down one of his arms.
I don't know what just happened, but we need to get out of here.
Was it an animal? It had claws, right? I mean, it ripped him open.
I mean, he's conscious though, right? Because I'm gonna just start tearing my shirt apart
Yeah.
and see if I
Okay,
can just
that's
put
cool.
it
Do
together.
you wanna stabilize him?
As much as
If
I
we can,
can.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You can stabilize the guy. You'll have to pull from the tower to do that because
Okay.
you don't have any medical experience primarily in your education. So.
I know about how to make
He's,
clothes.
you know, he's sort of like, so you're cutting strips off of your clothes, right? And good work, because as it turns out, there was an artery that was beginning to sort of like spurt arterial blood, and you managed to stop the bleeding from coming out. In Dread, you have what they call the metaphor of the tower. And the tower is a metaphor for the uncertainty that everyone is experiencing, the tension that everyone is experiencing, because there's not quite enough of what they need, whether it's time or resources or some other factor. And it also represents how everything is beginning to fray, right? The nerves of the characters and the plans that they've laid out, and how everything is slowly coming apart until eventually it tumbles down with like catastrophic results for those characters and then for their players as well.
Are the animals gone? Can we hear them at all anymore, or are they?
You do hear the sound of something crashing through in that.
Coming towards us?
You can't tell. If you would like to ascertain whether it's coming toward you or away from you, you would need to pull from the tower.
There's something coming, like whether it's leaving or not.
This is true.
If there's an animal coming, I would love for you to just make sure that we're in a good place while I see what's going on with our guide here.
All right. I'll pull.
Come on, freshman, do it.
All right.
So you're looking across, right? And luckily your eyes have remained, you still have your dark vision. You can see reflected from beyond the tree line, these sort of like greenish yellow eyes.
Nope.
That seem to be like, you're pretty sure that that whatever this is, it just made you.
It was looking directly at me. It's pretty freaky.
If he's still awake,
Yeah.
I want to try to talk to him to see what happened.
He is starting to make some sounds. If you would like to try to interpret what he's saying, then I'm going to need you to pull to understand. You tell me. I mean, it's how much do you want to hear from him?
You know what? I'm just gonna let him say his piece. And
Okay.
I'm not. No, I am. I'm gonna do it. I want to know what's up.
Okay, very well. All right, so
Okay.
you.
that
There you go.
All right, so you get down and you ask him what's going on, and
What happened to you, man?
Yeah, so his eyes are still closed, right? And he sort of tenses up, and what you hear is like, no, just and teeth, it's so close, and then his eyes snap open, and he locks eyes with you, and he says, "We have to leave."
Yeah, man.
And then he falls back. He is like just lapsed back down into unconsciousness.
I think we should leave.
I don't care if it's a green-eyed monster, pack of coyotes. All I know is we gotta go. We gotta get gone.
We need to get back in the raft and
Go downriver.
So you guys are going to need to break your camp, and you're going to need to decide what you take with you.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Right.
How does Alice feel right now about the current situation and the options available to you?
I'm just throwing cans of Spam into my backpack frantically and just weeping.
Okay. All right. The thing is, right now, Alice is feeling supremely freaked out.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe Alice doesn't want to come out of that tent. And for Alice to maintain her composure and break this tent down and get this food out, I'm going to need Alice to make a pull from the
You're
top.
not Alice's dad? Okay, fine.
You're cursing us, Alice. Why are you going to a single?
Don't listen to the brain demons.
Okay.
Oh, I did two hands. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I'm gonna let it
Okay.
pass. So you guys have successfully broken up your camp. Yes.
Keeping my knife out, just making it, since I at least brought something with me.
Right.
And the knife actually was a gift from his father. You know, he didn't really do a lot for him in his life, and he's only got 1 or 2 things from him that he feels is special, but this is the one thing that he's holding on to still.
Who's gonna pull to make a stretcher of some sort for your guide? Who's gonna do that?
You know about fashion, you know how to put things together, right?
Yeah, no, I guess I could. I just, you know,
Something that's structured.
it's not my territory, but I'll do it. I'll make the gurney.
I don't know if we should carry this guy down the mountain because we got to get to that raft.
So I'm gonna probably take my sleeping bag and
So-
just like roll
wow.
him.
So you manage to do that, and you pick him up, and now you begin the journey down through the side of this canyon. And in the light of the nearly full moon, the walls of this canyon look sort of like gray and foreboding. Echoing down the canyon behind you is sort of like, you know, like when one coyote starts going and then like 5 or 6 coyotes also start going and then they all kind of go at once?
Right.
It sounds like them all kind of going at once.
Alice, use your flashlight, look behind us.
I know. I'm feeling like I want to double time it.
Yeah.
Like I know
You
that
need to speed up.
I know that we're like
Yeah.
we're walking through rocky territory,
Yep.
and I'm holding our guide, but I want to
Okay.
get there faster.
All right, you're gonna need to pull from the tower in order to do
All
that.
right. Pulling from the tower.
Do I see anything when I look behind me with my flashlight?
You don't see anything. You do hear that noise a second time.
Okay.
But you've been able to double time it. The two of you have exerted a great deal of grace while under pressure, and you make it to your raft.
Okay. Cool.
So 2 of you are gonna have to row,
Row.
and 1 is gonna have to run a tiller.
Well,
Okay.
who wants to till is the question.
You want to do that?
And do we want to like really hoof it? Like, do we want to draw attention to ourselves
Here's the
with this
thing,
splooshing?
we have a long raft trip down. This isn't just like, oh, we're going to be like going down the
Well, it's
raft
just
for a couple
sightsee.
hours.
Right,
and-
yeah.
A little bit of extra information. The eastern sky is beginning to lighten just a bit.
Oh,
Oh, phew.
wait a minute.
So
What type of moon is it?
the moon is at the edge of the western sky, like
Okay.
kind of up there, and you know that it is the night before the full moon.
Okay.
Good to know.
Oh no.
We need to hoof it the heck out of here, you guys.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I'm putting the guide in. I'm laying him out probably in the middle partition. And if you're tilling, then I think we just throw the provisions in the front.
And we start rafting.
We just start rafting.
Yeah.
Just get away.
Okay. As you push away
Okay.
from the shore, you look back as 6 coyotes come bolting down the canyon and are sort of pacing back and forth.
Okay.
And that starts that like yip, 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 and then that big howl happens again. You are now safely?
What about those eyes?
What about them?
Do I still see them? Are they still there?
They are no longer there.
Okay.
There are these eyes.
Really?
I think it's a creature and it's creepy.
Now, when you say the creature, what exactly
Whatever it
do
was
you
that
mean?
attacked him, whatever it was.
Oh, for all we know, these could have been wild animals.
Well, yeah,
You know?
a creature.
Like those. This could have been those coyotes. We don't know.
It looked like one big animal.
I thought it would be kind of cool to give them a false sense of security and maybe set up a little bit of like paranoia in Emily, that she's convinced she's seen this thing, but so far no one else has seen it. And now everyone has identified a terrifying noise, but now they've seen a pack of coyotes making that noise. So what you guys notice is that there's something going on inside of her, and she's not being forthcoming with it.
I feel that maybe the information that she's withholding could be relevant to what we just saw. I'm not going to push it hard, but I'm just gonna coerce a little bit to be like, what did you see? Like, this is important. All of our lives could be at stake.
I didn't see much of anything. I saw a pair of eyes. It looked at me.
It looked at you. Okay, that's not
But
good usually.
some animals look at you. It's a thing.
You know, something's weird. I'll give you that. I don't know what's going on yet, but Pete's messed up, dude, and we just got to get him back.
About an hour has gone by. The sky has lightened. It's no longer pre-dawn, it's actually dawn.
It's
You
actual
can
dawn.
see sort of that, the white glow of the sun's corona over the edge of the canyon wall. Let me tell you about a couple of things that are actually in the raft, because I think that this will be some useful stuff for you
Okay,
guys.
cool.
Okay. There is a pair of flares.
Oh.
in there, all right?
Like the lights, not the pants, right?
That's correct.
Relevant.
That is correct. There is a little first aid kit.
Oh, cool.
Okay. There's a little box of strike anywhere matches.
Beautiful.
Right. An extra canister of propane for your propane lanterns.
Got it.
There is a two-way radio.
Oh.
It's a single kind of like two-way radio.
Okay, got it.
It's a two-way radio.
What's on the other end of the two-way radio?
Oh, I think we just got to
Presumably another person. You remember seeing your guide use it when you were at the beginning of this whole trip.
Okay.
It's pretty heavy. It says realistic on it. It has a leatherette case. I set this game in 1983 because I don't want them to have access to cell phones and smartphones and things like that. I think it's kind of cool to give them one of those old 80s transistor radio things that may or may not actually be useful.
I'm hoping that whoever's on the other end is like another guide, somebody stationed at the campsite further down the road, maybe.
Well, I'm still rowing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
You're kind of looking after Pete.
All right, so you go ahead and pull, you pop out the radio and you extend its many feet of antenna.
Yep.
Right, okay, and you click the radio on,
Click.
right, okay, and I'm gonna tell you what happens.
Okay. Based on
Based on what...
how good I am at tuning.
Based on how good you are at tuning the radio. So, what you hear as you're working on the radio is...
Oh, you're getting it, Alice, you're getting it!
Come on, just a little more to the left.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Hello? Hello? We have a hippie in distress and we are at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Someone? Anyone? Anyone, please. I'm trying.
Oh no.
Well, the good news is that the Orioles have 2 outs at the bottom of the 5th.
Right.
Everybody.
All right, well,
Okay.
I guess the best we can do is just keep going down the river.
As you get deeper into the canyon, you come to a place where the river sort of widens up a fair amount, and things sort of slow down. So you really gotta start rowing to kind of get through this, and you're fairly certain that you hear what sounds like an airplane somewhere up above.
Is it?
up
It might be
above
too
you.
bright to use the
It's
photos
a great
right now.
idea. Oh, it is really bright, but I mean, it's still a light, and a light's good, at least in regards to this. So I'm just gonna grab the flare and pop it.
Okay.
So,
I think because this was Emily's idea.
oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I think
apologize.
Emily's going to go ahead and pull that out. So now
right.
now I just have a question for you in terms of Emily's character. Does she take this initiative entirely on her own?
No.
No? Okay. So who does she run it by? Which of the other 2 people does she run it by?
She would probably say it to Alice because she's used to having to ask permission from women.
Okay.
So my mom's really strict. She kind of puts me in the closet for punishment.
You spark the flare, right?
Okay.
And you stand up on the thing and wave it.
Okay.
And now you pull from the tower to find out what happens.
Oh man. All right.
You can do this.
Why did I go for a bottom piece?
I don't know, freshman. Why did you?
So this airplane is sort of circling around, sort of like comes over, and now you can, like you heard it, but now you can clearly see it, right? And it's sort of like a Cessna, and you are waving your flare like crazy at it, right? Okay, and the airplane sort of goes over you, and it goes over you, and it turns, and it continues over you, and it goes. Past you, and you don't know if it saw you.
It could have seen us.
It could have seen you.
Could have.
It's the Grand Canyon. Planes are going to fly over the Grand Canyon because it's giant and gorgeous. But we have another flare, so we should be more cautious with the second one.
It is coming to be around the midpoint of the day. It's very hot. You've been awake at this point for maybe 12 hours. And you're on roughly 3 hours of sleep. That at some point you might want to start thinking about maybe taking some naps, or you're going to need to make pulls to stay awake.
All right.
All right?
Can I look at Pete's
wounds? Let's see what
Yeah, sure, you
Are
can.
they okay?
So
There's a little bit in me that wants to see a dead body in person. Yes.
I was trying to flesh out the Pete character. He's got a wound there, and this is supposed to be patchouli smell. He's a little disoriented. He's not feeling it. Do we want to crack into the first aid kit and see if we can stave off infection, or do we want to hold on to that for later?
Sure.
yeah, you definitely have a first aid kit, and
yeah.
you could. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and treat Pete's wounds?
Well, do you want to do that, or should I do that?
Well, how do you feel about it, freshman?
I mean, all I've looked at is, like, you know, books about wounds.
Yeah, I mean, we're all college students. We're equally underqualified for this task, I feel.
I had some good luck last time with
You've been
the
doing a lot of the
artery.
heavy lifting,
Yeah,
though,
so
Maddox.
you want to
Yeah.
try?
Well,
Okay, sure. So you open up the first aid kit, and in that first aid kit, there's some gauze and some bandages, and there's also like some antibiotic ointment
Saves
and
alcohol.
and like alcohol and
Rubbing
peroxide and things like that. So you see there's so much foaming from the peroxide, and then as you're placing down the things, his eyes open up again, and he reaches up and he sort of grabs on to the edges of your shirt, and he says, "The moon, the moon," and he falls back down. As your guide slips back into unconsciousness. There is the roar that just came echoing down the canyon walls behind you.
The roar
Or-
of the rapids?
Or maybe it's above you.
Oh God.
Oh, no.
That's odd. There is a shadow of some sort.
There shouldn't be shadows on the side of the canyon. The only way that there could be shadows on the side of the canyon if there was something on top of the canyon.
There is a shape
Where?
that's
Above
up
us?
above you on one of the
What is
canyon
that?
walls.
And there was something on top of the canyon.
This is not cool, man. This is not cool. What's up the walls?
I have
don't
pretty
know.
good vision. I can try to get a look at it.
Go ahead, take a look at it. Because if,
Yeah.
if
What
I
do you
was
guys
tired,
think?
Yeah, go for it.
So you look up, and as
like a ball.
as you are looking up, you see this creature. It's pretty big. It's at least 1.5 times the size of this table. It's pacing back and forth. It makes that roar, and it leaps over the canyon
What?
and lands on the top of the
no,
other
it can go back
canyon
and forth.
wall, and looks back, and it locks eyes with you again.
oh,
Is this something that you've run into before? We decided to
No,
take a trip.
I've never seen anything like this before.
I don't know why it would be coming after me specifically.
These rapids seem to have pushed you very quickly, and now you find yourselves what appears to be sort of like a cave. And you go in and you pick him up out of his crib, and he looks up at you, and he has a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. Hear rhythmic splashing. Another beast similar to the one that is now pacing in front of you comes crashing through.
Really? We have to contend with another one?
She knows that she's going to die at this point. She's kind of figured that, you know, there's not a lot of ways that this could turn out. As are so
No.
It's okay.
Oh, God, no, I'm abandoning.
And
Oh, no!